Welcome Capricorn to your in-depth weekly forecast for week commencing the 17th of June for the Ascendant, the Sun or the Moon. On the screen now I'm showing your event chart right at the start of the week. First of all, let's just be mindful of your ruling planet of Saturn. So Saturn last week clashed with in turn Venus, the Sun and also Mercury. They are at the start of this week still in house 6, which is where we need to be virtuous, detailed, attending to our obligations. But Saturn in the third house may have meant that there was some innate tension. Also, if you recall at the start of last week, Mars, which has moved into a very passionate and expressive part of your situation, had clashed badly with Pluto. So there could have been something around you not feeling recognised or valued in terms of your talents, or perhaps you were revved up and really attracted to someone, but then little issues seemed to get in the way. Later on as the week developed, it was Neptune in house 3 which caused some mischief. And maybe just generally, however much you tried to do the right thing for other people last week, somehow or another it just seemed to be quite an aggravating week. Well, the great news is that Mars has moved away from that very testing right angle to Pluto and is forging an amazing link to the planet of fortune. So I actually feel that your energy will start this week in a better place. It is true that Neptune squares to the dynamic alliance between Venus and Mercury at the start of this week. So being clear in your thinking and how you express yourself continues to be key. But both Venus and Mercury then move later on Monday into your opposite sign of Cancer. And for you, this is all about relating. So the next few weeks can be a fantastic opportunity to align, to connect, to develop a greater sense of collaboration. Also, some of the things that may have irritated last week, you could find yourself letting go and just accepting that we can't all agree on every particular issue, and it's not worth sweating the detail. The problem, however, is that Pluto, that was in that very aggressive right angle with Mars at the start of last week, applies to Venus and Mercury straight away. And Pluto's in your second house. So the one caveat that I would share is that if you're trying to build an alliance with someone where you both have a completely different value system or approach to money, you're probably on a hide into nothing, because however much you listen, you give way a little bit, you flex, you try to find the middle ground, that issue could come back. Then on Thursday we have the summer solstice. The sun powers into Cancer. Terrific opportunity because it's joined or joining straight away that duo of Venus and Mercury. So the next 13 weeks, your diplomacy and listening skills can take you far. But again, Pluto applies to the Sun in the quincunx, which is 150 degrees. Essentially, Pluto in your second house is making you very aware of the need to value yourself, but also what your values are, but also anything about finance as well, particularly everyday finance. So not the best of weeks if you're trying to forge an alliance in a business partnership with someone who's got a completely different worldview. But if you can connect to someone where there is some kind of synergy between how you go about things or they go about things, even if you bring different skill sets to the situation, or you're attracted to someone and there is that spark, but also there isn't that inhibition because you see things like money, politics, religion, children starkly differently, there's a wonderful opportunity to build up some new alliances. But what about existing relationships? Well, they're going to be tested by the full moon in your sign, which occurs on Saturday. The moon in Capricorn is the weakest part of its journey because it's opposite the sign it rules, Cancer. So it's a testing full moon each year, but for you this year, Neptune is also feeding into the equation and can create that distortion that he did late last week. How do you deal with this? Well, I feel if there is a long-term relationship where you just don't feel heard or recognised or validated, it's something you can't You can't deny that reality. So maybe the 7th house energy is pushing you to actually assert a boundary. The 7th house in astrology can be where we do flex, where we do give and take a little bit. And the best of relationships are all based on a bit of that, a bit of compromise. But not too much, because then we start to lose our identity. So in any tie where you feel you've really tried your hardest to commit recently and it's still not being recognised, you may want to put down an iron marker of this is what I will or will not accept. So in an ongoing tie, if there have been squabbles, tensions, perhaps about the domestic scene, perhaps little niggles have seemed to have taken hold, however much you want to lean into it and attune to where the other person's coming from, if they're not doing the same back for you, you're not going to be any further forward. So this full moon suggests a weak relationship, to be honest, could make way over the next 2 weeks. But if a relationship is just pretty normal, it has its ups and downs, it's not perfect, but you do inch forwards every time you have a discussion and find some new ways of collaborating, keep going for sure. And if you meet someone new with similar values, whether it's through work, in terms of a professional connection, or personally, if you share those values, this can be a very enriching time indeed. It's been a pleasure being with you. Have a great week. If you've yet to subscribe, please do so now. Capricorn.